Hello everybody and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where we always have something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I am your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Blaylock. We got a lot of Blue Jays news for all of you guys today. Ross Stripling potentially re-signing with the Toronto Blue Jays, and also Blue Jays management targeting an ace over there in the Japanese leagues. A lot of stuff to break down here, folks, but before we do, we are currently on the road to 10,000 subscribers.
Ooh.
We are almost there. We really want to get there by the end of the year, so if you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button. We post all the time. It's great. You want to be part of this community, I promise you. And also, TODAYJAYS is our code. Hop on there. Links in the description. You'll get some sweet deals and discounts. So, first things first. We got some tweets here. First one is by Ben Nicholson Smith. This is about Ross Stripling. I'm going to read this out here. Hashtag Blue Jays have been in touch with Ross Stripling and expressed interest in bringing him back. Jays have also had trade interest in their catchers and relievers per Ross Atkins. We're going to talk about that in another podcast. We'll talk about that later, yeah. But the first thing that we got to look at here is they've been in touch with Ross Stripling. They've expressed interest in bringing him back. What do you think about that? What does that mean?
Well,
everything.
I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, of course you have interest in bringing back Ross Stripling. Like, why wouldn't you? He literally was, according to just the ERA, he was the second best pitcher on this Blue Jays club. I think he's a great age. He's a great role model in the clubhouse, a great leader. Of course you want to bring him back. Now, are they going to offer him that qualifying offer that's just under $20 million?
Yeah.
We've talked about it a lot. I don't think that's a possibility, but before this Thursday, he's only available to the Toronto Blue Jays. I think we might offer him a deal of some sort just to see if he's interested, but I think he's still going to test free agency.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, guys, because if you didn't already know, this Thursday, so November 10th, that's the deadline for qualifying offers. So if we were to offer Ross Stripling something that would be just shy of $20 million, he could either choose to accept that, or if he didn't decide to accept that, then another team is going to have to pay him more money and I guess whatever he wants, and they'll have to forfeit a draft pick over to us. Now, frankly, if I was Ross Stripling and I got that qualifying offer, I'm probably going to accept it. I'm going to take that payday. I'm not going to test myself. Like, I'm going to be like, all right, $20 million is great for me, but I might not want to go that route if I could get a better offer, like an extension from the Toronto Blue Jays. And I feel like that right now, what Ben Nicholson Smith is saying about expressed interest and bringing him back, I feel like that's kind of code for, we don't want to pay $20 million. No. But we do want to have him on this team.
Right.
How can we finagle something
Well,
here?
you could definitely offer him something other than the qualifying offer. I mean, that's totally on the table. I mean, well, what would you offer Ross Stripling? I mean,
that's a great question.
I've looked at like many websites, and no one really knows how much Ross Stripling's worth, because before this season, think about it, he was just like this utility pitcher, whatever you want to say, a bullpen, could start. But then this year, because of the Hyun-Jin Ryu injury, he really took over and became a dominant pitcher.
It's the thing.
What do? It almost feels like he deserves a 1 or 2 year deal to say, prove it again in a starting pitcher role, because I'm not bringing it back to be in the bullpen anymore.
But the problem with the 1 or 2 year deal for a guy like Ross Stripling is you're 33, like you're going to be 34, right? It's like you're getting up there in age.
He wants to cash in.
Exactly, right? It's like if I was Ross Stripling and I was Ross Stripling's agent, I'd be like, all right, buddy, like you just pitched a lot of innings, the most you've done like in many, many years. You just had the best ERA as a starter over an extended period of time. Like, we got to cash in now. If it's not going to be the qualifying offer, then fine. But if I was Ross Stripling, I would probably want to target lesser teams. I'd want to target guys like, I don't know, Pittsburgh or somebody that's like not too hot right now, and be like,
Detroit,
hey, like here's
Baltimore,
3 years of my services. I want to have, $35 million over 3 years or something along those lines. So it's going to be interesting how the Toronto Blue Jays are going to navigate that.
Yeah, because I don't think they're going to offer him exactly what he needs right away. I just don't think it's possible. I mean, like, if I'm Ross, I'm probably looking somewhere at like 15 average annual value per year for at least 3 years, and I just don't know if the Blue Jays can't. Yeah, the Blue Jays can't. They've already committed that kind of deal and more, or a little bit less, to Yusei Kikuchi.
Which is just, is obviously we're seeing how the other shoe can fall in that regard. So before we move on from this topic here, what would be the deal that you would be okay with? Like, let's say that Ross Stripling, he's stuck on, I feel like he's going to want a 3-year thing. If I was Ross, I'd want a 3-year thing.
I'd want 3.
If he was stuck on a 3-year thing, what's that average annual value have to look like for you to be okay with getting him back?
Look, okay, so I'll give you a range, of course. I feel like and I don't want to go as low to be like, oh yeah, for $3 million.
Yeah,
of course
yeah.
I'd want
So,
$3 million per
course.
year. But like realistically, like I'm probably cool at like a 12 to 14 average annual value. That's kind of what he
14
deserves.
is like pretty high.
But then here's the thing: Stripling would probably want at least 14, maybe 15, 16.
Right.
He's gonna try and get that, and I think the only way you're gonna get that is on the free agency market.
Yeah. So good news is Blue Jays have expressed interest in them. I feel like the management, they're gonna be really cautious with this. Like I think that they're literally triggered from the Yusei Kikuchi stuff. Like they don't want to be going down that road again. And we're also seeing with the Hyunjin Ryu, well, it's like, well, we can offer somebody $20 million a year. Doesn't mean that he's gonna play for you, right? It's like injuries do happen, especially when you get older. So it's good to know that the management is in fact looking at him at potentially re-signing him. But if they don't, they also have some backup plans. We got some news here. Another tweet coming from John Morrissey today. He tweets out, Ross Atkins said today that the Blue Jays have a strong relationship with Kodai Senga's agent, Joel Wolf. Atkins said he expects to have dialogue with Senga's camp moving forward. So, that's really interesting, guys. Kodai Senga, a name that you're probably not super duper familiar with. We weren't super duper familiar with him until we took a little bit of a gander at his numbers. Tell the people about what they need, the Cole's notes on Kodai Senga.
He's elite. In the Japanese league, he is absolutely elite. He threw up Verlander numbers last year, the 194 ERA, a 0.06 whip. Not a super high K per 9, but he gets the job done. Throws about mid-90s fastball.
Yeah, I did hear it can hit 100.
It could. Yeah, like in 2019, he was hitting 98 to 99 consistently, whereas as he's now 29 years old, it's kind of dropped into that consistent mid-90s.
Okay.
Like, I don't know how they're using him, how they're lengthening him out, whatever, but he's obviously elite. Now, I mean, for me, like, sure, this is a great backup plan. My gut reaction, just like any Japanese player, any player coming from any other league outside of the MLB, it's like we've seen the story 1,000 times. You are super elite, you're super great there, but you're 29 years old. How are you going to transition over to the MLB? You've been pitching in this league for so many years. Is this a good decision by the Blue Jays to go spend more money on some dart throws?
Yeah, it's interesting. And I think for me, it really does come down to what is that contract going to look like? I'm all about the dart throws, guys. I truly am. It's like, if we could throw as many darts as we want, I'd be totally okay
if they're cheap
with
dart throws.
Exactly.
Cheap.
And that's why it comes down to how much is he going to get paid. Now, I will say John Morrissey also came out and tweeted that the Mariners are in on him. I've heard some other teams could be interested in this guy. So it's not just the Blue Jays here. Like, other GMs are looking at this dude. And I mean, let's face it, right? Like a 1.9 ERA, like that's obviously incredible. Elite. And also, for everybody who is a little bit worried right now, he was better than Yusei Kikuchi when Yusei Kikuchi was over.
We did look at this. We're like, please don't be another
look at that, right? He's about almost a full ERA point better than Yusei Kikuchi was, and that's definitely something to be noted.
Of course. I mean, hey, if he can come over here and, pitch a mid-3 ERA or high 3,
we're laughing.
Great. But how much is that going to cost? Right. Like, because Yusei Kikuchi, you could consider him a dart thrower last year that we paid $36 million to. A $36 million dart throw. And a lot of these guys coming over from Japan who are like really highly touted usually get like on average like around the $10 million mark. So are you like, for you, what is an ideal dart thrower if you did have to pay around that $10 million? How many years are you giving this man?
Can't be that many. It's got to be kind of a prove it thing. Like I'd only want to sign a guy like this to a 2-year, I think.
A 2-year.
A 2-year would probably be what I'm looking at. A 2-year. I don't know how much that you got to pay for something like that. And I also feel like he'd probably find a better deal elsewhere. I feel like
someone will give him the money.
And I do think that we are being especially stingy right now. Like, just us right here. I feel like the Blue Jays management, they're gonna probably be okay with giving more. And if they believe in him, right? It's like, they do. I don't have scouts on the ground. I don't have boots on the ground over there. Like, I can't tell you. I've not watched this guy pitch before. I'm just looking at numbers on a page, right?
Yeah.
So if you actually have like boots on the ground being like, holy crap, Ross and Mark, you need to sign this guy immediately. Well, that's something else, right? That's just information that we're not privy to, that we don't have.
Of course.
So if they do have that, and if they do really believe in him, then they're probably going to offer more than I would be willing to offer.
I agree.
So I feel like I can't give it a fair evaluation.
Well, worst case scenario, I mean, there was concerns about him transitioning to a starter in the MLB. I mean, apparently there's not a lot of like concerns about him being a high leverage reliever.
Okay.
And I mean, if he's going to be an expensive 10 million high leverage reliever, I mean, hey, I'm cool with that.
Well, we're going to pay like Edwin Diaz just got
Edwin
paid
Diaz,
$1 million, like $1
$20
million
million per
dollars,
year.
you know?
Granted, super proven and like in the same age and blah blah blah. But like, yeah, I mean, hey, whatever. If we can sign this guy, and then this, I don't want this to be the only guy.
No,
you know, I don't want
this.
I want another guy in the starting pitcher role, and then if he becomes that fifth guy or goes in the bullpen. Sure, I'm cool with it, as long as you give me some good results.
Yeah, exactly. So the one good positive from all of this stuff here is Blue Jays management. They are not sitting on their asses, everybody. They're out. They're on the phone with Ross Stripling. They're out. They're on the phone with this guy's agent. So they are looking actively, and I love to hear, too, it's all pitching. It's all pitching so far. We're hearing rumors about the pitching, so clearly that is on their minds just as well as it is on ours.
Yeah, and speaking of pitching, hey, they got Anthony Bass back.
They did.
Picked up his option. We all knew it was going to happen, but I thought, it'd be good to talk about it.
Absolutely, yeah. So Anthony Bass is going to be back on the squad. He was phenomenal last year. If this dude could be anything like Anthony Bass, then we're absolutely laughing.
Oh my God, yes we are. Guys, let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about all these Blue Jays news? And is there any other news that are popping up right now? Because this video is coming a little bit later.
Yeah.
Let us know in the chats. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, guys. Also, please make sure to like and subscribe. $3 a month to become a Patreon member. Shout out and thank you to every single one of these current Patreon members. You guys are awesome.
And guys, thank you so much for watching.
And go Jays, go!